just left Kalkoi after being on anchor for a few days. Unfortunately, the ankle windlass has burnt out again, which is the second time this year. I think our chain and our anchor are too heavy for the windlass that's standard on this boat, which is a 1700 watt 12 volt windlass, and I've already changed two out. So we're just passing Denbury, where we came a few days ago on our motorbikes that we rented. There's the harbour where all the day boats go out. That's the roadway that cuts down, and just behind this piece of land here is the old ruins that we went and visited. And then Denbury itself is just coming up in front to the left, and we're on our way to Finicky. We've got about 3.5 hour sail today. It took us an hour to get the anchor up. They do not take a lot of beatings, these anchor windlasses. They're absolutely useless. So we need to find a chandler when we get to Finicky and see if they've got one in stock. If not, see if we can get one ordered. The way we got it up is we put a rope together with a latch on it and used a winch and winched it up 3 meters at a time. We had 80 meters down altogether. We managed to get about 40 meters up on the anchor before we realised the anchor was really struggling. So we've done the last 40 meters by using one of the that winch there, to be precise. And then we went over to that winch because we realised it actually had a better angle without getting caught around the plaster down there. So yeah, a bit of a palaver this morning getting out of Kalkoi, but we're on our way. Another lovely day, a bit cloudy, a bit cooler. We're going upwind, but it's only light, only about 8-9 knots of wind. The sea state's really good. So we get to Finicky, anchor outside the marina. The water is shallow, meant to be sand. Hoping to anchor in about 6 or 7 meters and only put about 35 meters out on the chain, and then see if we can go and find a chandler's and order a windlass for it. I've changed them, as I say, twice before. It only takes me 15 minutes now to change them. But the last one I changed was in Sarandi in Albania. We had to go over to Corfu by ferry to pick up a windlass. Those were the only people that had one. So I don't know what the chances are of getting one down here and how long it will take. Other than that, we need to find shallow water and use one of the sail winches to pull the anchor up slowly, bit by bit, and just find shallow water to make it easier. Anyway, that's the joys of sailing. It's the most expensive way of getting somewhere for nothing. Boats, constant maintenance and repair. All part of the game. We are just a few miles away from Finicky. It's a Sunday afternoon. We're hoping to anchor up in the bay just outside the marina, and Monday hope to find a chandler where we can order up a windlass. That alarm was my autopilot, had just come off. Everything's as calm as anything. There's no stress on the rudder, but it decided to turn itself off. Hence why you have to be on watch, or at least have one person on watch all the time. Yep, for no reason that autopilot came off. It's now back on. But yeah, straight ahead, Finicky, and there's meant to be very good shallow anchorage here, so we're hoping to drop in about 5 or 6 meters of water, put about 30 meters out on the chain, and then so we can get a new windlass at some point, and then start heading back up towards Go Check, and then from Go Check we will go over to Rhodes. That's the plan. See how we do. We have anchored in Finicky, or Finicay. There's the marina. We are outside in this big bay. It's very, very shallow. We're in 3.3 metres of water with 30 metres out on the chain. Meant to be a good holding ground. It's all sand apparently. Right the way along here, massive bay, can hold hundreds and hundreds of yachts on anchor, and we're the only one here. There ain't another yacht on anchor. They're all in the marina. There is a bit of a storm, looking like it's brewing. They said it would be finished by late this afternoon, so we're sitting here. It's Sunday. We've been able to drop the anchor. Our problem is retrieving it. The motor windlass seems to have burnt out again. So, being it's Sunday, the chandlers probably ain't open. So we will sit here for the day. Davey's cooking pizza. So we've got pizza for lunch, and then we've got pizza again for dinner, haven't we, Dave? Yeah. Pizza today. We've got no chips to go with it. Desperate for provision. Tomorrow we will go to ashore, find the chandlers, and if they don't have our windlass in stock, which is very unlikely, we'll see if they can order it and how many days we need to be here. Other than that, if it takes a week or two, we will pull up the anchor by using one of the winches for the sails, get her on board, and then head up to Cash, anchor in the bay in Cash, or go up to Go Check, or do it in 2 stages. But ideally it'd be nice if the chandlery here has got a windlass, or can get one within a day or two. Only takes 20 minutes to change over. I've already done it twice. They're absolutely useless, these winches, but we do have an oversized anchor and an oversized chain. I'm going to look into getting a bigger winch, more powerful one. It's got more guts to it. A few people out kite surfing. This is the furthest we will be going east in Turkey. From here it's heading back up to Go Check, check out, and then we'll head over to Rhodes. Got a week left in Turkey, but yeah, great. Well, we've just left Finicky. There's the marina down there on the left. Absolute beautiful coastline. Just over there is a rock cut tomb, dotted all the way down this coastline in Turkey. This is a fish farm, well, several fish farms out here. So that's a fish farm. Fish farm just there. Fish farm over the back. On the chart plot there shows quite a few fish farms here. They do move them around. I can only see 3, but there's about 7 or 8 on the chart plotter.
Copy there, boy.
Cheers, mate.
That's hot, girl.
Lovely. Cheers, Dave. And over the back where those islands are, if you go round there and then turn to your port side, eventually you come to Antalya. Now, when I've done my research, for some reason or other, I thought we could come to Finicay and be covered on our insurance, but we didn't go into Finicay town centre at all, because I realised that our insurance, that runs out at 30 degrees longitude east, we're 10 miles outside of our insurance cover, so Finicay does not actually cover us on our insurance to be here. So technically at this precise moment this boat is not insured. So we've got to go 10 miles back towards Kalkoy, where we were yesterday, and then we'll be insured again. So where we were going to try and see if we could get a chandlers to order up an anchor windlass, although it did work this morning, it is slow. but we were only in 3 metres of water, so it wasn't pulling up a lot of chain. We have managed to come out on the windlass. So this was the furthest we was intending to go, finicky, but unfortunately, because we're not insured, I didn't want to leave the boat in the anchorage for a day or two so we could explore the area. And even if we didn't have an issue ourselves and somebody else had hit our boat, technically we wouldn't be able to claim off of them because we shouldn't be here. And that's why there's hardly any private yachts sailing around this area. There's been a very, very short amount of people sailing around here. So we've got to turn to our starboard round this corner, go across Demery, and then we'll be back into insurance. So we've decided to head for Cash, which is about 16 hours, which means we're getting in the dark. Although we know Cash, we've been there, we're going to probably stop somewhere en route and anchor out, try and find somewhere good, shallow, so we don't put too much strain on the windlass, which is causing us nothing but problems. And then make it on the next day into Cash. And in Cash there's several chandlers where hopefully somebody can order a windlass for us. And I think we're now going to make our way back up to Go Check after that, over the next few days. Check out from Turkey in Go Check, and then head over to Rhodes. We do need to be careful today because there's quite a few Greek islands very close to Turkey, and there's a dotted line on the chart plotter that tells you what territory is Turkish waters and what territory is Greek waters. And because we're registered as being in Turkey at the moment, we can't go into Greek waters. Although on the chart plotter I've set a course to make it the quickest and the easiest route, I will be tipping over into Greek waters. The worst that'll happen is the Greeks will come on the radio telling me to get back into Greek waters because I'm not registered with them in Greece. What a beautiful day. Very warm, a few clouds around. Unfortunately we didn't get to see what finicky was all about, but never mind. Well, we're heading back up towards Cash, and it doesn't get much calmer than this. Unfortunately we have no wind, so we're just running on the port engine at 5 knots. But look how calm that sea is. So just ahead is Kalkoy, over the back is Demery, round that corner is Finicky. That island up there is Kevkova, where Seahorse Bay is. We're 3 miles away from Seals Bay. We're just going to pass this island though and work our way up into Cash. We've got a 7-hour sail today. Stunning coastline, absolutely stunning. Our aim is to get up to Go Check out of Turkey, and then it's about a 30 nautical mile passage south down to the tip of the northern tip of Rhodes. So we've got about 6-7 days left here in Turkey. Get over to Rhodes, get in the marina, give the boat a good wash and clean, and then head back to the UK for a couple of weeks. And then come back to Rhodes and start organising all the work that needs to be done on this boat to get it ready to go across the Atlantic for next year. But this has been magnificent, Turkey, I've got to say. I don't think the food is quite as good as Greece. I prefer the food on the Greek islands, but the food's still very good. But the bays and the places that we've been in Turkey are just magnificent. Wasn't too keen on Bodrum, found that to be too busy. Marmares, although good, I found that to be a little bit too busy. Dacha, however they pronounce it, found that to be a little bit okay, but a little bit bland. But the bays that we've been to in between, off the beaten track, have just been amazing. Look, what a beautiful day. The sun is up and the moon is still out over there somewhere. No dolphins. In fact, I don't think we've seen any dolphins in Turkey. No turtles. We saw dolphins and turtles over in some of the Greek islands, but over in Turkey, very little or nothing. Right, onwards we go. So we're just passing the island of Kefkova, and down there, believe it or not, is the entrance into Seals Bay. And if you look as I zoom in, all you can see is white rocks right the way across the front, and it doesn't look like there's a wide entrance there, but as you go in, this entrance opens up between those two rocks that are right in the middle of this screen, and it opens up to about 60 foot wide, and then you go round, turn right, and in between those two peaks just there in the centre of the screen, and it opens up into a big bay where we were a few days ago. But from here you wouldn't think that exists, but I will show you on the chart how it looks. So if you look here on this chart, there it is. And you can now start to see the shape of a seal's head. And that bit that we just looked at, these rocks here and here, are the bit that makes it look like there's no entrance in there. But it opens up to about 60 foot wide and then goes round into that bay. And now you can clearly see Seahorse Head, known as Seahorse Bay. But from out here, doesn't look impossible, does it, David?
No, nothing.
It does not look like there is an entrance through there. It's only once you get close to it, it opens up. And we've experienced that quite a few times on this journey. But you have to trust your navigation equipment, because it's not usually wrong. And this is reality, this black dot, and she's on my right hand side. And we're just alongside that entrance now. That is a very small but nice super yacht called Astrum. Going down the Turkish coast on its way to Kalkoy. Probably just come from Kaş as a guess. It's only 2 hours up. And that is Kalkoy over the back. Okay, so we've decided not to break maritime law. We were going to go across here, which would have tipped us into being in Greek waters, but we've now decided to reroute the journey to take us through Turkish waters, so that we're not going around this part here, which is Greek territory. We're staying in Turkish waters. Go. So we've got the island of Megistri just in the background. So this is actually Greece, and this is Turkey. We can almost throw a stone and touch Turkey. We can almost throw a stone and touch Greece. That's one Greek island. It looks like two, but that's one Greek island over there. And we've got to go through this channel here to stay in Greek territory. To stay in Turkish territory. And where we're going, Cash, is right where the thunderstorm is coming and the rain. So that catamaran now is officially in Greek waters, and we're officially in Turkish waters. That small monohull up front of me, just cutting in front of me, he was heading through that gap, and there ain't a gap. It's so shallow you can't get anything through there. So he realised he needed to turn to his starboard side and get through this cut here, which has got plenty of depth, and then you can go back to your port side and through around the island. Well, it's actually not an island, it looks like an island, but it's connected to the mainland over the back with the white buildings on. We've got to go around that and then down behind the back of it into Cash. So behind the back of these little islands, you can see the other islands in the background. You can just work out white buildings on them. So we've got to go behind these two little islands here, and then behind the big piece that's connected to the mainland that looks like an island, and then down into a long cut into Cash, and then anchor in the bay. But there you go, look, there is Greece, Greek waters. Here is Turkey, Turkish waters, that close. This is Cash Marina. Reality is out there in the bay, just behind the back of them, on anchor. The anchor is definitely in trouble. It's struggled to put itself down in the water today. And this is our restaurant. Dave's over there. Beautiful marina, goes right the way back up there. Long inlet to get in here, a bay at the end. And there is Cash, where we went the other day. Had the bikes out. Can't see it, but just over that hillside, or just on the top of that hillside, is a big amphitheatre. But this place is lovely. I just went into the Chandler's, Yacht Chandler, see if he had a windlass. No. Can he order one? No. I thought you don't really care. So I said, well, I'm going to go check in a couple of days. I'll go there and pick one up. He said, yeah, go check's the place to go. And just there, next door, can't quite see it, is our supermarket where we're going to get our provisions. But today we sailed from Finicky back to Cash. Took us 7 hours. We hit a storm on the way through, but other than that it was quite nice. It's turned out a beautiful evening. We left Cash about 4 hours ago, and we're on our way to Go Check. We've passed Kalkan already. We've got about another 5.5 hours to go, so this would be a good 8-9 hour sail today. I say sail, just on a motor, one engine running. There's very little wind, and if there is, it's coming from the nose right in front. So we've got one engine on at 2,500 revs, and we're doing about 6.5 knots. The sea is almost dead flat, so nice conditions. Very overcast, but still warm. But for a 9 hour passage, not to have the sun beating down on you all day, it's actually quite nice. Look how calm that is. Reality is flying. She will go faster than 6.5 knots on one engine in these conditions. We'll probably get her to about 7.5, 8 knots if we turn the engine up to its maximum power. But there's no point. We've got plenty of time as long as we get in well before dark. Because anchoring in Go Check is a big bay with 5 or 6 marinas around it. It was busy when we was there earlier in the season, which was about 3.5, 4 weeks ago. But we expect now that most of the summer season is coming to an end, the bay outside the marinas in Go Check should be a little bit emptier. We do need to find somewhere very shallow to drop the anchor because the windlass is literally gone now. It's not even able to pull the weight of the chain up. We had to use a rope around one of the sail winches to pull the anchor up today. We're hoping to be able to get a windlass in go check, even if we've got to stay in go check for 2 or 3 days whilst I order one. It only takes half hour to change it over, and then we can start setting our passage plan south to Rhodes. We're heading in a north westerly direction up the coast of Turkey. Go check's 30 miles away, so we've got 5 to 6 hours and we'll be there. It should be around 5:30 today. It's not getting dark until 6:30, 6:45, so we should have plenty of time. If the worst comes to the worst, we'll throw the other engine on and then start pounding through at about 8.5 knots to get there quicker, but we shouldn't need to. Stunning coastline. You won't pick them up on this camera, but there are a few rock cut tombs up in these mountains, and just over the back there is the old ruined town of Petra, and we went there about 4 weeks ago with 2 guests that we had on board, and on the same day we drove up into Selly, Kent, and done some water rafting in the tubes where you go down the river. That was great fun. So we've got 2.5 hours roughly left until we're in go check after leaving Cache this morning. We are just passing Butterfly Valley, that is there, Udinese, that is there. Once we get round this headland, we'll be on our final path into go check. We're flying at 7 knots. Wind's picked up, give us a little bit of an angle, just flying on the jib with one engine running and doing a good 7 knots. So over the back there is Fethiye. There's Fethiye over there, and ahead by 12 miles, can't quite see it, but just round that corner is go check. So we're well into the bay now. Our last 2 hours. So we have just reached go check and we are looking for a place to anchor, ideally somewhere very shallow, which means we've got to get right down the back here. And it looks busier than it was last time we was here. Yeah, lovely yacht that, isn't it, eh? This is how busy it is round here. Look, all them yachts all tied up on the quayside over there. "48 metres, we've got a long way to go to try and find shallow water where we feel we can drop the hook and go back. Luckily we haven't got too much heavy winds for the next 2 or 3 days. Look at that beauty, hey? Look at that. Yeah, some stunning yachts around. Still 47 metres, we've dropped hardly anything. Right. This is where we anchored last time, down here. You've got to be careful because you see all those boats that are facing us on the back side there. Yeah. They're the ones that have all got their chains out and stern too, so we can't get too close to their chains because they're out. After a 9-hour sail from Cache, we are back in go check, and we needed to find somewhere very shallow to anchor as we have a problem with the windlass, and we managed to anchor in just 2.2 metres of water. So long 9 hours today, but the coastline of Turkey was breathtaking as normal, as usual. This mooring field is just chock-a-block with yachts And the reason most of these boats are at this back end is because it's shallower, and all the big yachts are up the front. It's because they've got a lot more chain, so they can deal with a lot more depth. But it's mainly 50 metres all the way in, until you get about halfway into this anchorage. Then it slowly drops down onto where we are, which is a beach just there. We're about, I reckon, about 250 yards off that beach, and as I say, we are in 2.2 metres of water, which is dirty and green, so we can't make any water with a water maker because it's too dirty. We don't know if we're going to be here for 2 or 3 days, whilst we try and see if we can locate a new electric wingless motor. But all the way around these bays there are yachts that are stern to up against the island, right over the back. It's a bit of a minefield coming through here, because there's certain areas that have to be left for these big yachts to come out of the marinas. I think there's 5, maybe 6 marinas here dotted around, so there's an area here where we couldn't go. We have to stay out of this area where it says stop. This is literally as far as you can go, because these yachts have got to come out. You can't anchor anywhere over there because these have all got their anchors down a long way out in front, and then they're pulled back onto the quayside in the marina, and then stern to tied off. So there are areas where it looks like there is anchoring area available, but there isn't. That corridor up there is the main corridor for all the boats to come in and out. You can see that grey boat coming down now. He's probably heading into a marina. That grey boat in the centre. In fact, you can actually see a boy out there in yellow telling you can't anchor inside there because the other boats have got their anchors out and they're stern to behind this white yacht in front of me. Lovely night, sun's just going down. We're staying on the boat tonight, and then we're going to get up early in the morning and see if we can find one of these chandlery shops here that might be able to help us with an anchor wingless.
Right, mate, what are you doing down there?
I'm having a kip. What does it look like?
You've got big captain's quarters down there with big double bed. I've got a feeling you're changing another windlass, aren't you?
Yeah.
Here you go. You can have a film of it.
Okay, I'm stuck in this tight quarters. There's my chain, and there's my windlass. Now, this is the 3rd time I've changed this, the 2nd time this season. I changed it last time in Sarandi in Albania, which is right opposite Corfu, which we managed to get this anchor windlass from. No one had one in Albania. It's lasted 3 months exactly. So we've gone ashore, go check, left a deposit on a new one which is being delivered tomorrow. We've just received a phone call saying they haven't got one, so take this one off with the one I took off in Albania, and they're going to rebuild them both. So we've got a spare plus this one. But he's also told me that he thinks another manufacturer might be able to make it fit onto this gearbox, and it's much more powerful than this silly 1700 watt 12 volt one that keeps burning out. So here I go again, changing the windlass. Luckily it's not too difficult, but I'm literally bent over backwards in a little tiny cubby hole trying to do it. Right, let's get on with it. Ghost town. Calicoy. Well, they never left any windows or doors or roof structure. No roof tiles anywhere. So they obviously robbed everything out, including the timber joists in between the floor levels, and then just left the brickwork. Because there is no timber structure or roof tiles, windows or doors anywhere that I can see. Little church at the top, and there's another church right down the bottom. I believe it was something like 1923, something like that, that all the Greek people that lived there had to get out when some sort of agreement was signed with the Turks. The Greeks were rehoused back in Greece, and then the Turks, I believe, moved back in here, and I think it was something like 1957. There was an earthquake and it kind of demolished most of the buildings, the roofs all fell in, and it just became a ghost town after that. Calicoy Ghost Town. What do you think? 100, 200 buildings? Maybe 300?
Oh, probably more actually.
You think so?
300 to 400 I would think, if you look all over there as well.
Yeah, well, we've already done a third of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be over 100 buildings just in this area, I suppose. That looks like a well. I've seen a few of these, but we're not sure if they're wells or windmills, we don't know. One thing that's a bit of a shame is there's not enough information up here telling us exactly what some of these buildings were.
No.
Which I think is a shame, really.
Look down there. Little skink.
Yeah, little lizard. But one thing's for sure, every single window, door frame, every truss, every roof tile was taken. Every rafter. There's no wood, no roof tiles. So when they had the earthquake come through and decided to leave, obviously people came in and took the best materials that were easy to take. Hence the buildings are literally just concrete frames. Interesting. I am down here for the third time installing a new windlass motor. Oh, it's tight, but doable. Just a nut to go on the top, tighten the motor up, run the cable, lugs back, cable, tie the cables up, and then check it. Well, we've actually got 4 boats here all touching each other. 3 sailboats and a sport boat. Donk, donk.
Oh, you can hear it now.
Yeah. I mean, they're not smashing into each other, they're just like all locked together. Luckily the wind's pushing them away from us.
Let's hope they're coming over.
Yeah. See if we can grab their attention, the old Bill coming over. What's that torch, Dave?
Is he coming this way?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got his attention. Yeah, we got the police's attention.
I'm not sure they're coming this way though.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's it.
I won't shine my light on him.
No, not now. At least we've got his attention.
Here we go.
Shall I put a deck light on?
Yeah, put the back light on, Dave.
That's the one under the radio go, isn't it?
It's the top one under the radio. There's two, and it's the top one. Yep. Dave, just take that torch. Don't shine it in their cabin, whatever you do. Yeah, good evening. Do you speak English? We've got fenders out. Hi there, you speak English? We've got 4 yachts here together. We've got 3 monohulls and a sport boat, all locked together. We don't know. We don't know. No, we don't know. I think the 3 monohulls I think turned up today. The sport boat has been here for some time. And the sport boat I don't think has moved. I think it's the other yachts. Okay? Cheers. Okay, well, we managed to get the local gendarme. Let's see what they're going to do. You've got to turn that torch off, Dave.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't want to shine it until I was sure that they was coming over here, but they are coming over, so. There are no captains on board, we don't think. So I'm not sure what they're going to do. I mean, what can they do?
Well, if someone's on board, they can wake them.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean.
I'm not sure there's anybody on board.
Well, we know there's nobody on the sport boat. I saw somebody on this monohull on the right-hand side of the sport boat. So he's trying to get them up if they're in there. This is what we call boats disco dancing late at night. Right, they've managed to untangle the big yacht from the sport boat, and they're now moving the big one out at quite fast speed. Well, that is the boat that they just moved, this big monohull, and they've anchored right in front of us, and that is no more than about 35-40 feet away from the front of this boat. So my anchor is probably underneath that boat, well and truly underneath it. Our anchor chain is out there, and they've just put that boat, dropped the anchor down, and they couldn't put much more down because if it spins 180 degrees it'd be in the marina. That white boat that you're seeing there, a couple of white boats, are in the marina, and that's that boat that they've just anchored right in front of us. Not too keen on that. This is the front window of our saloon. I think that right up against the front of our boat. Let's hope he don't drift throughout the night, because if he does, he's coming straight on at the front of us, and that will do some damage, especially as we're a catamaran. So after the madness that ensued last night, when we had 4 or 5 yachts all wrapped round each other, we woke up this morning, and this is where the yacht is. We could almost share a cigarette and a cup of coffee together. That is no more than 15 feet away from this boat, and that's where they left it. Madness. So we are over to say goodbye to the beautiful town of Gochek. Dave's got the ship's papers. We've got to meet an agent at customs, and hopefully we can check out and then get on our way over to Rhodes. Although we have got big winds today, gusting up to 37, we might sail up towards Marmaris, hug the coastline of Turkey, and then take the shorter journey over to Rhodes. If we go directly to Rhodes, what's it, 42 miles?
42.2 nautical miles.
But if we go up to Marmaris and then go, it's more like 50 odd. So we've got to make a decision depending on how rough it is outside. 56, yeah. So we'll add whatever that is, 14 miles to our journey, which is another 2.5 hours of sailing. So from an 8-hour sail, it'll be 10 and a half, 11 hours. Or if we go direct, we can't put as much power on the engines as we want, because it depends on the sea state. If we go too fast, we'll be slamming into the waves. So we might have to go as slow as 6-7 knots to be comfortable, which will then still take 9-10 hours to get to Rhodes from Gochek. But we've had a great time here. Gochek has been, yeah, it's been really beautiful. So, just down here is where we're hoping to meet our lady on her push bike, and a bit further down this path is the customs clearance office. Our tender at the moment is just on this dock here, but apparently we've got to move it to that dock just out. There's a little dock there with them boats on, that's where we might have to move it, so she's going to come along and tell us what to do.
Do you want me to bring the tender round?
What, round to the custom dock? Yeah. Do you want to do that? Okay, alright. So I'll stay here and wait for her, and then I'll tell her you're moving it to the customs dock. Yeah. Right, so David's got to move the tender, which is in the middle of these boats here. So our little reality is just the other side of those boats up against this wall, and he's got to move it not to this wooden pier in front, but a wooden pier behind the back where there's a couple of tenders. He's got to go and put the tender there, and then there's a walkway from there across into the customs hall. That's it, that's what we've got to do. Get all our documents all stamped. I think we then got to go passport control, but we'll see. Hopefully it's all done from over there. They do want us to move the boat. Now reality is just there, and they want us to move the boat in front of the customs dock. The problem is this is shallow, so for me to get it in deep enough water by that speedboat, which is actually next to us anyway because we're just here, we'd have to move her further away from the customs dock in clear water than we are by being in shallow water just over the back. So we're going to leave reality where she is, and they may want to get on our tender and then go over to the boat to inspect the boat, but she reckons it's unlikely. So let's sit here and wait for our lady. Once the agent turns up, we'll crack on. So David's taking the tender over to the customs dock, just behind the back of this wooden pier. But he can only now, I think, gain entrance into the custom hall, so he might have to stay there until I come back with the agent. Right. Oh, our agent's there already. Okay, there's our lady agent. You can now go into customs. So we've done passport control in there, where it says Maritime Border Gate, with an agent. She's now basically said we can't leave this area for the next 20 minutes because it's still part of border control. Reality is just floating there somewhere. There's reality. There's the dinghy dock we had to come to, and she's just basically said wait around for 20 minutes whilst I go and print the transit log, which I think is the official document that says we can now leave Turkey and head over to Rhodes. So in the meantime, we've done what we normally do. We've ordered up a couple of beers from this restaurant. We are heading out of Go Check. So we've got about 9 hours minimum in front of us today. Our plan is to have a look what it's like outside heading directly over to Rhodes, but if it's looking quite bad then we'll hug the coastline up to Marmaris, and although we've checked out of Turkey, maybe find somewhere just to hide and then leave in the morning. It's much calmer the weather tomorrow. Mate, it's blown a hoolie out here, getting up to 40 knots. So, we are battling it today. Go Check, Turkey, on our way to Rhodes. And this is in the calm bay. We've got 8-9 hours once we get through that cut of rough weather for 9 hours. So we've just made the cut through 2 islands. Go Check is down there and turn right. We're now going out into the open sea. Once we get round that corner there, it's about 2 o'clock. Fethiye is that town there, and Go Check town is kind of behind this island. And this is one of the islands with one of the cuts. There's about 5-6 cuts you can come out of, and there's a massive bay behind there. Go Check, fabulous place. So we've got a real nice hot day today. We've got about 8.5-9 hours. There's another cut there that takes you through into the bay. It's all part of Go Check. You see that boat going through, and that's kind of the end of Go Check Bay. Just round that corner to his left hand side. So once we get round this headland, we're kind of setting a course to get to Rhodes. Again, beautiful mountains in the background. I think that's starting to become snow up there now. Beautiful. I'll just show you where we are on the chart plotter. We get the sails out in a minute, or at least one of them. So let's Go Check there, Fethiye there, and that's the cut we've just come through there. And you can see all these different cuts you can go through between all the islands. And we've sailed down this path today. Left our anchorage after coming out of customs. Sailed that course there. Course there, through the 2 islands, and now we're here. And once we get round this corner, up over there, a bit more further round the corner. Watch that point there that we've got down as a danger point. Get on our way to Rhodes. this is what it's like in 30 knots to 40 knots of wind, bang on the nose, no sails out, both engines running at 2500 to 2600 RPM. We've decided to abandon trying to get to Rhodes. The wind is only going to pick up to 38 to 40, so we're going to head for an anchorage that we've been in before, which is about 3 hours away, near the Dallin River. We know it's got protection from the northwest, which is what we've got today, but this is big sea states. We're jumping over 3 metre waves. Waves are on the nose, winds on the nose, currents on the side, slightly on the front, so we've got it all against us today. But we have officially checked out of Turkey, so we need to get on our way, but we're going to just dive back into Turkish territory. And a bay that we know we're going to anchor in. David's up on the helm. There's an island in front, just there somewhere. We're going to go to the right hand side of that island. This is a large bay that we've got to get over. We're about a quarter of the way into it. The bilges are all going off because the water's coming over the front. But this is quite a hectic ride. Nothing we haven't done before. The tender's sliding around a little bit, but she's still all tied on. But we've got a few reefs to be careful of, a few little islands dotted here and there. So a little bit of navigation's needed, a little bit of care. We won't be in until dark, but we know the area, so hopefully we'll be fine. Yeah, not the most enjoyable journey today, but we are getting to our destination eventually. We'll leave here tomorrow, and then when it calms down, get ourselves over to Rhodes. But there are some big sea states out there. You suffer with seasickness, you don't want to be on this journey. That or it'll cure you, one or the other. Buy yourself a boat, they said, it'll be fun. I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, we might have to give this a second thought. I think I might take up walking. We believe that that is Rhodes out there, 30 miles away. We're coming to the end of our passage today, 7 hours, and we're going into Ekinsikkoyu, a bay where we've been before. Just running for shelter, getting out of these 30-40 knot winds. We are flying at 7 knots. We've got some protection from the headland up front. It's getting dark, obviously. That's the entrance to the Dallin River down there. flying at 7.7 just then.
Is she?
Yeah, look, 7.8, 7.9.
He's getting us in there, mate.
Yeah, 2.94 miles to go, and that's where we're heading. So we've been here before, and that's the Dalian River, all that lot there. And that's our journey today. Or part of our journey today. Yeah, no, that is our journey today. Out of Go Check,
Yeah.
round here, down here, up here, to there, about 7.5 hours. The apparent wind is 24, but we've had up to 42 today, apparent wind. So we decided we would not run for Rhodes because it was the waves were too big. But what a beautiful sunset. And Marmaris is over there. There's Marmaris and there's the Isle of Rhodes. We are just leaving Ekinsink. This will be our last day in Turkey. Got a beautiful day. Winds are only up to 20 knots, coming from the northwest. We had great protection in here last night. David's pulling the anchor up. 12 metres of water. That's the little bay that we're in. Done the chart plotter, and there's our route today, straight to Rhodes. Distance 28.5 miles. David's just making me turn the boat to the port side. So all I'm doing is throttling the intake over. It's got 21 metres to bring up. Once we go forward. Last time he was here was about 5 weeks ago, as we worked our way down the coast of Turkey.
How far have we got, Gal?
You got 12 metres, you're almost off the bottom.
Yeah. Pull her forward for me.
Yeah, she's going forward. So, he's now off the bottom. We can turn her on a dime. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 yachts on anchor, including us. David's got the anchor up. That is on 0. And we are now going forward gear with both engines. Accelerate a little bit more with the starboard engine. That will keep us turning. We're away from all the other yachts. Just got to watch that yacht behind us. Go forward, and we're now out of here. That's the course we need to follow. So we need to get to that point now. There's virtually no wind, but it will pick up today. And you can see that's our first port of call there.
She seems good, that new Winters.
Yeah, it seems quite strong, doesn't she? They'll do when they're new.
Did you hear that thud?
Yeah, she locked, didn't
Pulled
she?
up lovely.
Yeah. And here we go. We are on our way out of Turkey. Straight line today once we get on course. Sorry, on our way to Rhodes, not Turkey. Leaving Turkey. So we're just coming up to our first waypoint. So that displays north up and we're heading basically south. South-southeast. And you can see the run line starting to come over. And that's our second point now, waypoint number 2.
Another Dalian River.
Yeah, yeah,
Trips.
yeah. Okay, we're on course for our second waypoint. So we will get her on her waypoint and then it autopilot. That will keep us roughly on that point. Yeah, beautiful morning. Yeah, most certainly better than yesterday. There's a little marina just over there. And this is one of the boats that we jumped on, similar to that, maybe even the same one. When we was here 5 weeks ago, when we went up the Dalian River, which is just around that corner somewhere. We're on our way to Rhodes. We've just asked customs in Rhodes the formalities, the procedure. I'd like to think we can go straight into the marina and in check in, but knowing customs, we'll have to go to the customs dock, check in, and then come out of the customs dock, and then we can enter into our marina. Well, there's a beautiful valley down there, lovely and green. Calm seas, but they won't be out there. It'll be a little bit rough, but not too bad today. Right, let's get this done.